ways to avoid paying a market adjustment for a new Jeep Gladiator. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Automotive JT. I'm going to tell you 3 ways to avoid paying a markup on a new Jeep Gladiator, or really any new vehicle that you're looking for. And by dealer markup, I'm talking about the premium that's added because of what's going on right now. The shortage of vehicles, the shortage of parts, the low selection, all that good stuff. But real quick, before we get into it, if you're new here, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. So let me start off by saying I'm kind of in the market right now. I've been out looking at some new vehicles because frankly, I've gotten the itch. Again, I get the itch about every year and a half, something like that, and sometimes sooner. And I've been looking around and I've talked to a couple of dealerships that I deal with, that I've gone to before. And that brings me to the first way to avoid paying the dealership markup. Go to a dealer that you've bought other vehicles from. You know, a lot of times if you establish a rapport with a dealership and they know who you are, and make sure they know who you are, make sure you tell them when you go in that you've bought umpteen vehicles, however many, 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever it is, from that dealership. And deal with someone that you know, like a salesman or a sales manager or somebody like that, that's familiar with you. Because a lot of times a dealership will waive that market adjustment, that added premium, because you've done business with them before. Believe it or not, they actually do like repeat customers. The sales manager and the sales guys do, because it's almost like a constant stream of income for them, albeit years apart sometimes, but still, if you keep going back, that's business that they don't have to go out and drum up. They can kind of depend on it a little bit, and they do appreciate that. I had that happen recently myself. Like I mentioned, I'm in the market. I've been looking around, and I was talking to a dealership about a vehicle, and they mentioned to me that typically they add right now a markup, $2,500 on any new vehicle that you buy from that dealership. And I'm like, geez, $2,500 for any vehicle? I mean, I've seen it on more scarce vehicles, like the new Tundra that's out, some other vehicles that are more scarce. I just did a video not long ago on one of my other channels running through the markups and how much more dealerships are charging right now because of everything that's going on, added options, all that kind of stuff. So it was amazing to me that they charge that no matter what vehicle you're buying. That's a bummer. Now, number 2, buy something that is in allocation, something that the dealership already has coming. You know, that is something that you can grab that's already in the pipeline and not already sitting on the lot. And the downside to that, I suppose, is that you kind of have to take whatever's coming in. In other words, you might not get all the options, maybe even the color that you want. And of course, it depends on how important that is to you. You know, if it's a matter of this one doesn't include mud flaps or doesn't include floor mats, well, big deal. You can put those on pretty cheaply yourself after you have the vehicle. Now, when it comes down to things like drivetrain options, transmission, if you happen to be involved with some vehicle that still has a manual, well, that makes a bigger difference because that's not something that you can easily change yourself. Color is another thing. You know, I know a lot of people are pretty color sensitive. You have to be a little flexible if you're buying on allocation, because obviously there's only going to be a handful coming if you're lucky, and you're not going to have much choice on what color there is for you to get. Now, the third way, and this is probably the best way, although it requires the most patience, and that is to order the vehicle, assuming you can. If you're in the market for a Ford Maverick right now, you're just out of luck. You can't even order one until I think it's August, October, something like that, for the next model year. But that goes back to not buying the most popular or scarce vehicle that's out there right now. But anyway, order one. typically I've seen in my hunt that dealerships are not charging a markup for things that you order. Of course, as I mentioned, that is going to take more time. You know, a couple of years ago, I bought a manual transmission, and that's what's key on the Toyota Tacoma. And this was just before all this stuff hit and the shortages and all that. But I bought one, I ordered it, spec'd it out the way that I wanted, and it was a 5-month lead time. Now that was excruciating. You know, when I'm in the market for a new vehicle, I typically want it like right now. I'm not very patient when it comes to waiting, but I wanted to get what I wanted, so I did wait. And obviously back then there was no markup or premium adjustment. I got that vehicle just before all this insanity started. Now, I also bought, during this whole craziness, another Toyota Tacoma. I like the Tacoma, in case you didn't know. I bought another Toyota Tacoma. It was during all of the craziness, and markups were happening, but I took one, as I mentioned earlier, on allocation. It was already coming in. I was a many-time repeat customer for this dealership, so there was no market adjustment. The only bad thing about buying a vehicle right now, though, is you can't really dicker on them too much. Unless you happen to come across a dealership that's got a big inventory on the lot, which isn't typical right now. But if you do, you can dicker a little bit there, but you're still not going to get much. You're probably going to end up paying MSRP. That's a drag, because for me, it used to be anyway, you never buy any new vehicle without getting something off. Even if you get $500 off. You know, I had a grandfather. He would buy cars and he would go into the dealership and he would pay whatever the sticker was. This was many, many years ago. No matter what, he would pay sticker. He didn't dicker at all. And I always thought, even as a little kid, you know, gee, why wouldn't you get at least $500 off, or 100, something, anything? But he never did. He always paid full sticker no matter what. And that I always thought was crazy. And here we are today, and that seems to be the norm. What a drag. So anyway, those are 3 ways that you can avoid paying dealership markups on the new Jeep Gladiator. 1, use a dealership that you've got a relationship with, that you've dealt with many times. 2, buy one that's already coming in, it's on allocation to the dealership. Or 3, go ahead and order one. At least you'll get what you want for the most part. Leave a comment, let me know. Have you found these to be true? Have you utilized them yourself? I'd be curious to know. Also, if you didn't in the beginning, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about Toyota Tacomas, and Rob Motive FST, all about full-size trucks. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.